everybody say, yay, what are you doing? And then like you watch the boomerang, like, ah. And I thought that was so cool.
There's only one word to describe Liberians: resilient. We spent 6 days in Liberia doing nothing but talking to as many Liberians as we could about Ebola, the war, and everything in between. Each person's story left us a little teary-eyed, in awe, and giggling all at once.
Ebola. Well, for me, I did have a personal experience with Ebola because at the time I just got employed with UNMIL, the United Nations Mission in Liberia, and one of my colleagues had gotten sick the week I got in and I wasn't aware. So went to Starbase to do the medical, and I'm trying to sit down to wait for the doctor, and I see this doctor dressed from head to toe in this white, the dress for dealing with Ebola patients, covered from head to toe, and she's like running to me, no, and I'm thinking, why is she running to me? Why is she saying no? But there was a seat next to the seat that said, don't sit in me. There was a paper in that one that dropped because the guy had went to the hospital when people wasn't aware at the time. They thought he was just normally sick, and he had sat in most of the chairs. So they hadn't decontaminated the chairs, and they were just telling people not to sit, but that paper dropped, and I was almost about to sit in a chair. Yeah, it was a stressful time, anxiety at the mask, but I'm just so glad I was here for the entire thing, and I saw how resilient and strong and how Liberians can come together. There's a lot of people that lost their lives. There are a lot of health workers that we need to be grateful for, a lot of doctors and everything. But I'm just glad that we came through and made us a stronger people. My dream is to have another business, and that business will encapsulate everything that I do now. So that business is going to be a concept store. That has always been my dream. That has always been what I've wanted. That is what I'm working to. If I had a space that I could afford now, I would have a concept store and make sure that I am a brand that can be mentioned amongst other brands on the continent. But also when you see my pieces, like you were talking about country cloth, I work with the mud cloth from Senegal, Mali. We have some here. We call it mud cloth totes. People are in New York and walking around. Somebody's like, "That's my, with designs." They're just known. Like, we're just known for the mud cloth totes. That's one of my biggest selling products. So that's my dream. That if you're wearing a bag and you're walking down Fifth Avenue, people are like, "That's my, designs." So just putting more craftsmanship, more finishing, more better products, better quantity, better business, better brand, and just being like a brand that is known like any other brands in Africa and on the continent. That too is another dream. I'm a big fan of women in IT. I'm part of an organization that says women in IT, and sometimes we go from school to school, high schools, to like tell women, especially young girls, that it is good, to be part of IT. I did a post for e-commerce. I do all my marketing, all my different publicity. I run at least 7 pages on different platforms. All my social media pages, including my personal pages, run by me. I studied the market. So I am really here for the internet, as they say. I'm here for social media. It's literally made my business what it is today. And imagine how far I can go with social media. So yes, we are working on the website, but so far all the credit has to go to Facebook, Instagram, and all the other business pages that give like everybody access. Access is a thing where sometimes it's bad how people used it, but mostly you can use it for good. And business-wise, it's an amazing tool.
My name is Lakshmi Moore. I am a Liberian feminist. I also work for an organization called ActionAid Liberia that does work around women's rights and anti-poverty. I like fashion, and I like music and eating. I don't like to cook, but I'm a good food expert. I think growing up, you're always aware. You see it everywhere you go. Every house, there's like a zinc shack next door. So you're well aware when you're living that someone next door doesn't have electricity, So like growing up, the first set of things you want to do, you want to be a doctor because you want to be the person that would help people and give free healthcare because that's what you think you're going to do. Or you want to be a lawyer because back then we used to think lawyers were good people. I mean, I think lawyers are still good people. But you are aware that there's a high need in the country. So like you're trying to constantly see how you can give back. And then that becomes part of everything you're trying to do. And then for those of us who are fortunate to travel, to go to the US and other countries to sort of get our education, it sort of became both our story because like even if you didn't tell people you're from a war-torn country, they'll be like, okay, come, let's line up all the international students. So you tell us, how are you affected by the war? And so then you start to like feel like you have an obligation to come back. So then that becomes your story. You're like, I'm going to go back to my country and help. I'm going to go back to my country and help. And then you know every pathway that you take, and then eventually when you come back to Liberia after a long time being away, it hits you, and then that becomes everything that you want to do until you come back. So in a country that has such high poverty, a lot of challenge we have is people say, what does Action Aid do? It's not tangible. But I think what we're constantly confronted with, because we're a women's rights organization, is like the high rate in violence against women. So like even if you're not trying to do something, someone will be like, so what is Action Aid doing around rape? There's this case out there, what are you doing? And so it's constant. I think there are a lot of cases that are in your face, and there's not one thing, but like collectively just the issue of rape and the assault, that you become heightened aware of your own body movements in places. So like if I go somewhere and someone's walking behind me, I'm like automatically thinking that they're gonna rape me because it's, you've read so much story or you're doing so much issues. And I think at the bottom of it is the fear that if it ever happened to you, that you might not get justice, that the police are completely incapable, not because they don't want to sometimes, but because either the resources are not there. So I think it lives with you, so you conduct yourself in terms of when you go home, you're aware of who is around you, those kind of things. So it follows you even in social gatherings. So there's a particular community that's a mixture of Muslim and Christian. And I remember 2013 when I went to look at whether we should work in the community. I was like 4 months pregnant, so I was really nervous about the community because I've heard a lot about, there's like a mixture of conversation around it. There are like 2 cotton trees, and then the people like scare you and say the cotton trees sort of protect the community. So there's a lot of myth and folklore that you walk in, so you're like nervous, and it's like heavily dominated. And then 4 years later, we went into the community, and the girls are like talking. The first time when the women could not sit at the front at all. Now we go in, and the girls are like talking. This government is like this other issue. We don't have this, and this is our right, and telling about the work they do, and like we're like, wow, this is what we're trying to. So Medina is one. They have a group in the community now that if they notice that a parent is trying to have their daughters marry early, they say they wake up very early in the morning and go in and start to help the daughter to like clean up in the area so that they can have a conversation with the mother, so that they can be able. And these were things that we were in. So for us, that's success because we're trying to it's human rights work that we want to do. Social media, Instagram, really cool way of communicating your work and interacting with other users that you might not. And I think I like Instagram personally. But here's the thing, like you can't put filter on some pictures, so that's the hold up. But I think Instagram can be such a beautiful way of translating the work you're doing so that people are interacting with it, because you could do, I mean, I use Instagram a lot, so that's what I'm most familiar with. I know there's Snapchat, there's all of that. But like, you know when you do like the boomerang thing? Yeah, it's, you know, I went to a workshop once where at the end of the workshop, instead of a picture, they're like, everybody say, yay, what are you doing? And then like they watch the boomerang, like, and I thought that was so cool because I was like, it makes it also, you know, so yeah, I think social media can be a really interactive way of doing like IG stories and stuff like that for events. That, yeah.
Firstly, we started with cold water. We started to sell cold water. Go buy the sack of water, carry it around. As time go by, we bought a popcorn something, that machine. We popping corn, I sit down selling our scratch card in a little box. So as we keep on, God keep blessing us. That's how we start operating. Later on, getting connection with EcoBank. That's how we were involved in this express transaction. Really, Liberians, we are people that love. So we are free people, we are free-handed people. For example, like selling, you don't just go anywhere and sell. In other African countries, but in Liberia, we take you as our brother or our sister. We give you space to sell because we love one another.
I'm Christiana Brooks Kojo, head of EcoBank e-banking unit, and I've been with the bank for the past 17 years. I've been in this unit for the past 5 years. I have passion to meet customers and go and sell EcoBank to customers. My hobbies are dancing, making new friends, basketball. The 1990 war took me from Liberia to go to Ghana, and I was opportunity to go to a few other African countries. It was because of the war, and we were looking for refuge. There's a ship that came to a Nigerian ship that came to Liberia, and I took my family on the ship. We made use of that trip to go to Nigeria because of what we saw, and we just went for rescue, and it was a good thing that I had to do for my family, and I had to make a lot of friends both in Nigeria and Ghana, because I was between Ghana and Nigeria. It was a first experience for me to leave my country and go out there to seek refuge. But it was a sad thing because I left other family members back home, and some of them got killed. Like one of my only brother got killed in the war. So it was a sad thing because I didn't have the opportunity to take all of them with me. I traveled with my mom, my little sister, and I traveled with my 1 year, few months son, and I traveled with my daughter who was about 3 years also. My family, my mom and my sister, my children couldn't afford a meal. We had to go through the rebels and to get a meal. And I said the only option I had was to take them other year to go. And when I got on the ship, we had the food, but it was not enough to sustain and imagine 1 year old child or so. But God being God, when we went and all was well for us. Went to Nigeria, I went to Ghana, I met 1 or 2 government officials, and they encouraged me, say, Chris, come back home, we'll find a job for you. And when I came back home, I started working at the State House. I worked at the State House for 9 years. Then I came to EcoBank, looking for greener pasture. I applied to EcoBank, I was successful, and up to now, I'm still with EcoBank.